You tell your family you can't come to Sunday dinner because you have other plans. No fight, no yelling. You simply chose yourself for once. And suddenly, you're the selfish one, the ungrateful one, the one who's changed. Here's what nobody tells you about that moment. You just discovered the trap you've been living in your whole life. If you've ever been called selfish for simply wanting to choose your own path, this video is your mirror. If you've ever felt that tight feeling in your chest when someone gets angry at you for having boundaries, keep watching. Because what I'm about to show you will change how you see every relationship you've ever had. Most people think being weak means crying or giving up. But that's not the real weakness. The real weakness is something much sneakier. It's when you make yourself small so other people feel big. It's when you hide who you really are so nobody gets upset. And here's the scary part. You were trained to do this before you could even walk. Carl Jung, one of the greatest mind doctors who ever lived, discovered something that changed how we think about people forever. He found that we all have what he called a shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide because someone told us they were bad. But here's the plot twist Jung uncovered. Those hidden parts aren't actually bad. They're just the parts that scared the people who raised you. Let me tell you a story that might sound familiar. A little kid loves to draw. They're proud of their pictures. But every time they show mom or dad, they get ignored or told to do something more important instead. So what does that kid learn? That their creativity doesn't matter, that their joy isn't important. They learn to hide the parts of themselves that make them happy. Jung called this wearing a persona, which is just a fancy word for a mask. You put on the good kid mask, the helpful person mask, the never cause problems mask. And you wear it so long, you forget there's a real person underneath. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Niccolo Machiavelli, the guy who wrote the famous book, The Prince, about power and relationships, warned us about something 500 years ago that most people still don't understand. He said that being too nice, too trusting, too giving, it doesn't make you good. It makes you a target. Machiavelli wasn't trying to make people mean. He was trying to wake people up. He saw that the nicest people often got hurt the most because they never learned to protect themselves. They gave their power away to anyone who asked for it. But wait, there's more to this story. Another brilliant mind doctor named Donald Winnicott figured out something that will blow your mind. He discovered that babies are born with what he called a true self, the real authentic you. But if the people taking care of you can't handle your real feelings, your real needs, your real personality, something terrible happens. You create a false self to survive. This false self is like an actor that never gets to leave the stage. It smiles when you're sad. It says yes when you want to say no. It makes everyone else comfortable while you slowly disappear inside. And here's what nobody talks about. This isn't your fault. Melanie Klein, another genius who studied how kids' minds work, found that children will do anything to keep their parents happy, even if it means erasing themselves. Because to a little kid, losing their parents' love feels like dying. So you learn to be weak not because you chose it, but because it was the only way to survive when you were small. Your weakness was actually your strength trying to keep you safe. If you're starting to see yourself in this story, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what I'm about to tell you next is going to free you from a prison you didn't even know you were in. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never face. Every time you make yourself small to keep someone else happy, you're not being loving. You're being scared. You're still that little kid trying not to get abandoned. But you're not little anymore, and the people who can't handle the real you don't deserve to be in your life anyway. Jung said something that might sound harsh, but is actually the most loving thing you can hear. The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are, not who they want you to be, not who makes them comfortable, who you actually are. And Machiavelli taught us that strategic thinking isn't selfish, it's necessary. You have to think about what's really happening in your relationships. Are people loving you, or are they loving the fake version of you that never causes problems? Here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. How many people in your life would still like you if you stopped doing things you didn't want to do? If you stopped pretending to agree when you don't? If you stopped being available every time they needed something? That tight feeling in your stomach right now, that's not anxiety. That's your true self trying to wake up. Let me give you some permission statements that your parents probably never gave you. You have the right to disappoint people who want you to stay small. Your freedom is not being mean, it's your birthright. You didn't come into this world to be everyone's emotional support person. You are not responsible for fixing what others won't face about themselves. Carl Jung said that becoming yourself means disappointing other people. And Machiavelli taught that being too nice makes you a target for people who want to use you. I can hear what you're thinking right now, but what if they get mad? What if they leave? What if I'm really being selfish? Let me tell you something that might change your life. The people who get angriest when you start being real are the people who are getting the most benefit from you being fake. That guilt you feel when you think about choosing yourself, that's not your guilt. Someone else put that there. It's like emotional handcuffs designed to keep you in place. Jung discovered that we all share something he called the collective unconscious. Basically, feelings and experiences that all humans have. And one of those shared experiences is the fear of being rejected for who we really are. Everyone feels this. You're not weird or broken for feeling scared to be yourself. But here's what separates free people from prisoners. Free people feel the fear and choose themselves anyway. Machiavelli wrote about this too. He said that sometimes you have to choose between being loved and being respected. And he warned that if you always choose being loved, you'll end up with neither. The people who truly love you will respect your boundaries. The people who don't respect your boundaries don't actually love you. They love what you do for them. Here's the plot twist nobody talks about. When you stop being weak, you don't become mean. You become honest. When you stop hiding your shadow, you don't become dark. You become whole. When you take off the mask, you don't become ugly. You become real. And real people attract real love. Fake people only attract fake relationships. If you've made it this far in the video, you're ready to hear the most important thing I'm going to tell you. The weakness you were trained to have isn't permanent. It's just a habit, and habits can be changed. But changing this habit is going to feel scary at first. Your brain is going to tell you that you're being bad, that you're hurting people, that you should go back to being small and safe. This is normal. This is your mind trying to protect you the only way it knows how. Jung called this process individuation, which just means becoming who you really are instead of who everyone else wants you to be. It's like mental surgery, and it's going to hurt before it heals. Machiavelli would tell you to be strategic about this. Don't announce to everyone that you're changing. Just start making small choices that honor your true self. Start saying no to things you don't want to do. Start speaking up when you disagree. Start spending time on things that make you happy instead of things that make other people happy. Some people are going to notice. Some people are going to push back. Some people might even get angry. This is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. This is proof that you're doing something right. Here's your homework, and I want you to write this in the comments. I choose to be real. Just those 5 words. Because when you write it down, you're not just telling me, you're telling yourself. You're making a promise to the part of you that's been hiding for so long. And if you're ready to do the deeper work of becoming who you really are, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because I'm going to keep making videos that give you permission to choose yourself, backed by the wisdom of the greatest thinkers who ever lived. Remember, you are not imagining this. There's a brain science reason it feels so scary to be yourself. That guilt is not yours. Someone else put it there. Your feelings are not too much. They're information. Your boundaries are not mean. They're necessary. The little kid who learned to be weak did an amazing job surviving. But you're not that little kid anymore. You're strong enough now to handle other people's disappointment. You're smart enough now to see the difference between real love and fake love. You're brave enough now to choose yourself. Jung spent his whole life studying what happens when people become who they really are. And what he found was this. The world doesn't end when you stop being fake. The world gets better. Because authentic people make everything around them more real, more honest, more alive. Machiavelli knew that the people who changed history were the ones who refused to play by rules that kept them small. They weren't cruel, they were strategic. They understood that sometimes being kind to yourself means disappointing other people. So here's my challenge for you. For the next week, make one choice every day that honors your true self instead of your false self. Notice what happens. Notice who supports you and who pushes back. Notice how it feels to choose yourself for once. And then come back and tell us in the comments how it went. Because this isn't just about you changing. It's about all of us giving each other permission to be real. The weakness you were trained to have served its purpose when you were small and powerless. But you're not small anymore. You're not powerless anymore. And you don't have to be weak anymore. Your true self has been waiting your whole life for you to be brave enough to let it out. Today is the day you stop making it wait. If this video opened your eyes to something you've never seen before, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Because the greatest gift you can give another person is permission to be themselves. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready to keep learning about the psychology of becoming free. Ring the notification bell so you never miss a video that might change your life. And remember, you have the right to disappoint people who want you to stay small. The trap you were trained to live in isn't locked from the outside. It's only locked from the inside. And you've always had the key.